Now let's move on to the final part of this chapter. We're focusing on the third component of the service value system, and that component is continual improvement. This section explores the idea of constant enhancement as we journey towards the future. The future is uncertain. We can only forecast. After setting a general course, we advance together. Along the way, we might encounter crossroads or intersections. We need to decide which way to turn, right? Therefore, continual improvement supports business changes by consistently providing actions that meet evolving needs. Alright, let's talk about the specifics of continual improvement. We'll delve into these in practice. Here, we'll mainly focus on one concept. It's called the Continual Improvement Model. This model guides how we offer planning and consulting to clients. In PMP project management, we often refer to the PDCA cycle. The PDCA cycle, also known as the Deming Cycle, sound familiar? Here's how it works. P stands for plan. You define the problem and create an action plan. P is for to execute the plan. C is for check, assess the results. A is for I can standardize the process. Let's keep this going and then maintain our overall progress. Alright, the continual improvement model is a similar idea. It includes PDCA, just spelled out in more detail. It has 6 steps, or you could say 7. First, what's the vision in the plan? Plan accordingly and understand the business mission. It's about what we want to achieve in the future. But this future must be within sight. Remember, we're talking about communications here. Take microwave transmission, for example. It travels in a straight line, right? If your tower is here, straight line transmission will miss the mark. My receiving tower is here. I'm stuck. So what now? I'll have to build another tower within the line of sight to relay the signal. Alright, let's complete the relay. This is called linear sight transmission. Similarly, when defining a vision, it should also be within the sight. It's about how far-sighted you are. People see things differently. So what you aim to achieve in the future is within your vision. It all depends on the mission and goals. I need to give some thought. From a personal perspective, this can be seen as career planning. Like what I want to do next year. What do I plan to do in the next 5 years? What achievements do I want, right? It's the same with companies. They have their missions and goals. Secondly, since I'm going to do this, how do I go about doing it? We have a guiding principle in the process. We start from where we are, so we need to assess our current status. Where are we now? I can't start from scratch, right? So I need to think it through. This can also be called a structured assessment. We'll assess the current services, like how users perceive the value they get, the team's capabilities, our technical solutions, organizational culture, etc. We'll take a multi-dimensional approach. Once we've completed this assessment, I'll develop the corresponding plans. This helps me define the right target. That's the purpose of assessing our current status. Third, we need to define our goals. This is based on our overall vision. Alright, so here we set the standards. Specifically defining a quantifiable goal based on the known conditions at the outside. On the journey to reach our vision, we'll identify one or more priority tasks. That is, we need to know the steps involved. And for each step, what goal to achieve, what are the critical success factors and the key performance indicators. We need something to measure these by, and that's where we'll define them. The main thing is to measure our progress. Next, the fourth step, how do we get there? How to get it done? Then I need to clearly define the plan. This is where the plan is defined. What's the action to implement the plan? I've already analyzed the previous matters. I thought it through, done the assessments, and finished everything. Now that that's done, it's time to get moving. So writing out a detailed plan, implementing and deploying the plan, then we'll measure the progress. Hey, did we get there? Did I meet my goals and needs? So, this is where we take measurements. Here are the measurement matrix. This is how we measure it. You told me earlier what the critical success factors are. So, here I'll take a closer look to see if we've reached this range. That's the idea. And lastly, we'll often add something more to maintain the A in PDCA, which is standardization to facilitate further adoption. This is the desired outcome. This typically involves incorporating this new method into our daily operations, making it standard practice. This is part of the Continual Improvement Model, which consists of these steps. Now let's take a closer look at what the official textbook says about each of these steps and the keywords. First, the vision. The vision refers to the goal of improvement initiatives. It includes the context and scope, establishes a high-level concept and plan. Let's briefly go over this. It's like 5 or 10-year plans. It has a similar effect. Let's take a quick look at this. We've grasped the high-level direction, the leadership's thinking, and the improvement initiatives for this plan. We need to know the stakeholders and their roles, whether we agreed on the value proposition, if the roles of staff and teams are clear. We've considered all these aspects. That's the vision. Next, now let's assess the current situation. Please note the highlighted keywords. Regarding the current situation assessment, it involves 4 aspects for evaluation. Generally, this refers to our current resources and whether they're usable. That's the idea. Just take a look at the information. Thirdly, it's about where we want to go. This is about defining a quantifiable goal, as mentioned earlier. So, in other words, I need to define multiple tasks to reach our goal. Right, now about this goal, prioritized action need to be considered the priority. Define a goal for improvement. How do we improve? To what extent? Critical success factors. Right, so we'll use the SMART framework here. Got it. This framework helps employees work more clearly and efficiently. That's the idea. It mainly refers to performance reviews. When I assess my performance, where do I want to be? What do I want to achieve? This is where we use this metric. This metric is actually an acronym made up of English words. The S stands for specific. You need specific work metrics. It can't be vague. You need to be clear. What about M? It stands for measurable. It means it can be quantified. You can measure with numbers, like your workload, for example. Moving on, like your connection rate, or the amount of videos you record, and so on. All these need to be clearly defined. S for the A, it stands for achievable. With some effort, you can reach this goal. You can set a goal that's unreachable. Even if you jump and still can't reach it, people won't even try. Forget it. If it's too low, it's too easy to reach, and there's no motivation. That's A. What's R? It's about relevance. It requires that different goals be related. You can't say my job is being a teacher and then expect me to do sales. If it's tied to sales, then that definitely won't do. Right? For a good target, meeting KPIs has specific time constraints. Some common examples are like critical success factors or SVS and key performance indicators (KPIs). These are commonly used to assess performance. To set these up for you, the key information you can access. Next, it's about reaching our goals and taking action. Reaching those goals and taking action usually involves a set process. Defining the how means outlining the approach. Taking action means executing the plan. It's important to distinguish between these two. Defining and then involves planning deliverables with small iterative steps. This approach involves using a series of iterations to carry out the work. Let's get familiar with its characteristics. So, taking action means executing. I have various ways to get the results we need. Take software development. For example, we often use the traditional waterfall method or the agile method. I introduced these earlier. The difference between agile and waterfall is, first, whether requirements are clear. If they are, choose waterfall. If not, choose agile. Second, the requirements for time and quality. For high quality, choose waterfall. For fast and lightweight development, then for further iterations, we have agile. This is one of its key features. Take a look yourself. Just focus on these features. The rest isn't very demanded. Just note which stage they're responsible for. Finally, we come to the assessment. Remember, we defined the relevant KPIs and goals earlier. Now it's time to calculate your actual KPIs and assess your performance metrics. Then we'll compare them with the goals you defined earlier. Did it meet my requirements? If the goal wasn't met and everyone fell short, then the goal was too high. I might need to adjust it. If everyone achieved it, then the goal was too easy. I might need to raise it a bit. Next, it's based on real numbers, the actual ones. Finally, standardize it. Keeping it up means institutionalizing it, standardizing it, and further promoting it. It is already quite mature, this continual improvement process. Then we make it part of our daily work. Here's a finer point on this. Within the entire improvement model, we can summarize it as follows. The following keywords and key terms. Get familiar with each element. Just like when dealing with multiple choice questions, it hasn't been expanded to assess this yet. The test is still relatively simple, so starting from the vision phase. What was done? You have to choose. Or I did something like this, which phase it belongs to. I'll assess that. This type of question. Now moving on, let's take a look at some sample questions. First, the first type of question in the continual improvement model, which step involves implementing the improvement plan. When it comes to the improvement plan, first is defining it, and then implementing it. Where does this fit in? This is where we take action. What about option A, vision? That's about understanding the business needs. So how do we achieve the vision? That's how do we get here? Correct. Is this the right way to say it? How do we achieve our goals? This is about clarifying and defining the improvement plan. Then option D asks if we've achieved it. In other words, have we arrived? That's how it's expressed. Did I do it? Did I achieve it? It's part of the assessment, measurement, and metrics. Make sure to distinguish between these. Let's look at the second type of question. In the continual improvement model, which of the following is the step to check if we've met our goal? Let's focus on the keywords. Did we reach it? Did we arrive? Did we achieve it? So we need to take the actual results and compare them with our target. That's why various metrics must be compared individually. Assessment, measurements, and indicators. Where does option A, defining quantifiable goals, fit in? So, where are we headed? Then we set a benchmark. We run a baseline assessment. It's the baseline. The starting point, starting from where we are now. So we ask, where are we now? That's option B. Option C is to implement improvements. Have we taken action? So, is it about putting the improvement plan into action? That's the one. Make sure you note the differences. Okay, let's move on to another category. As for the specifics of the work, I've used the continual improvement model. The organization has provided the following information to do what? To understand the current status. What information helps understand the current status? Carry out an assessment or assess the current status. Let's go with the assessment results this kind. So we'll choose C. We are going with C. Alright, what about C and D? They can be tricky. Let's take a look at them one by one. First, as for business goals, what stage are they usually in? Understanding the business mission and the vision. Right, option A. As for the improvement plan B, it's either defined or implemented is at the how-to stage. It's about taking action. The KPI report, what's that normally? Usually it means, did we achieve our goal? That's the question. KPI, if the collection and organization submitted a report after the report, everyone can review and compare whether we've achieved our goals. It's more about where we want to be. Have we reached it? This kind of question, only the evaluation results, reflect our current status. That's it for this question. The above covers all the content of Chapter 4. That's all for today. Most of it was about explaining where this fits in, or what this description refers to. It's this kind of crazy, counterintuitive approach. Pay close attention to understanding the differences. That's all it takes.